Mall Santas of Reddit. What's the weirdest thing a kid asks for Christmas? Story 1. My 3-year-old son asked Santa once for a baby rhino. Santa told him that the baby rhino's mama would be very sad to lose her baby though. Then my son said, okay, well, I'll take the mama too. Maybe she can sleep in my mom's bed. Story 2. I was an assistant manager for a mall Santa with no error programs. A special needs 20-something black guy would come by nearly every day. He quickly weighed more than 250 pounds, so we eventually convinced him to sit next to Santa instead of on his lap. Every time he had to remind Santa what he wanted for Christmas. His list was Home Alone on DVD, Straight Outta Compton on DVD, and Prince's 1999 album on CD. Santa was excellent and brought him the Prince CD a few days before Christmas. Story 3. My uncle was a Santa, and he told me that a kid once asked for a coffee maker because he wanted to start his own Starbucks coffee stand instead of a lemonade stand. This is because B, the business, could be seen better at a lemonade stand, but only a few OT of adults drink coffee, so he'd make coffee. That kid is probably a millionaire now. Story 4. The weirdest thing I asked was for a pen that could write like a pen, pencil, marker, and crayon. I'd never seen one, but Santa could make it. I got a 4-colored pen instead. Story 5. Many years ago, a small girl would not tell her mom what she wanted for Christmas. Mom told me the problem, and I was to say to her after the kid jumped off my lap. The little girl hopped up and told me she wanted some makeup and some tits. Story 6. When he was feeling better, my FIL looked like a real Santa. I used to mess with him around Christmas when we were out and about with the quick Rudolph needs to get back to the pole. We need to hurry. I got a lot of really great looks from kids. The best was a shy little girl that came up and asked for some specific doll. Without missing a beat, he says, I'm not sure what the heck that is, but I'll have Legolas look into it. He always acted grumpy about it, but we all know he loved every second. Story 7. Once my sister asked Santa if she could have a horse's head and an ice cream cone. She explained that she would paint the ice cream cone the color of the horse, stick it on it, mount the horse's head to the wall, and tell her friend she killed a unicorn. She didn't remember. Story 8. When he was younger, my kid had a habit of visiting Santa once to ask for gifts, and then a few more times during the season to stay high. Mom, can I see Santa? There are no kids over there, and he looks lonely, so that I could hang out with him. Santa came to daycare. I didn't ask him for presents. I just reminded him I was good this year. Story 9. When I was 9, I wrote goodbye to my parents, telling them Santa would pick me up and take me to the North Pole. I sat out in our car and waited for Santa to take me away. The dumbest thing about this was that it was in the middle of the summer. Story 10. A little girl wrote something down on a piece of paper, folded it, and quietly slipped it into the jar. The mom came rushing back after they left, asking if we could get the form out the pot for her. She unfolded it, and in crayon it said, I want Dad to come home. The mother started crying and took it with her. I got some weird and sad ones, but that one hit me right in the feels. Story 11. My kid asked Santa for Thor's hammer. Christmas morning, he opens up Thor's hammer. So happy. First, he chucks it across the living room and into the kitchen. Dishes smash and glass is all over the floor. The kid was fucking pissed it didn't come back to him. The look on his face, pure Christmas devastation. Story 12. One of my excellent friends is a lumberjack of a man, 6'4", 250 plus pounds. Giant beard type of man. He got a Christmas crop top sweater, so his entire stomach was out, got hammered, went to the mall, and asked Santa for a fifth of whiskey and some nasty bitches. The video circulates a little more each year, but it makes me laugh every time because Santa has no idea how to react. Story 13. When I was like 5, we went to see Santa. This Santa just happens to be an ass. My sly 5-year-old self slipped him 5 pounds and told him to give me better presents than my brothers. He took the money. I told my dad a while later. He kept the 5 pounds. 5-year-old, I was devastated to hear that he was one of the Santa's helpers and not the real one. Story 14. I was 9-10. My siblings and I told Santa we wanted car insurance and a house. We didn't collaborate and agreed to tell Santa the same thing. And we were surprised when after the meeting, Santa got up and told us that this was the first time it happened to him and wanted to take a group photo with us. Story 15. I was a manager at a pet store that would host pet pictures with Santa every year. Naturally, as the most prominent male in the store, I would dress up as Santa. One afternoon, we were doing it, and a pilot walked up to me. When I say pilot, this man looks like he just landed the plane, exited the cockpit, and walked into my store. The name tag on and everything. He says, "Listen, I don't have a pet. Can I take a picture with you?" I say, "Of course." He walks up to me, sits on my lap, has his picture taken, and walks out the door. Never saw him again. Story 16. It's been a long family tradition. My grandpa and dad were both mall Santas. I had my first season last year. I'm still determining if I'm going to do it again. Weirdest thing a kid asked for. The filthy child wearing urine-soaked sweatpants sat on my lap last year. He asked for a bag of wiggly rice. I asked him what wiggly rice was. It's the rice found on a piece of chicken he found in his backyard. He said it was yummy. Story 17. Grew up as a military brat with 2 older brothers. In Berlin, there was something called Snowball Satellite on military TV, and kids could meet Santa, I think. I was 1.5 years old, so I only knew details from what I had been told and then later watched the show on VHS because we taped it. So anyway, my one brother was on Snowball Satellite, like 5 years old, and he made wishes for all of us. And when he started to say what he wanted for his little sister, me, he said he wanted some hair on contemplative pause. Ribbons. This is ironic either way because I was a baby with barely any hair. Could have used some hair on my baby noggin. But hair ribbons wouldn't have made sense because there wasn't enough hair. Anyways, my mom loves telling this story and cracks up every time. Story 18. Was asked by the sweetest little girl if mommy could be home for Christmas. Mommy had passed away 2 months before. This is a small town, a village. The aunt had given me a heads up a couple of days back. I couldn't give her the present she wanted, but I had hoped I could give her the gift she needed. I talked to her about her mom, her favorite colors, and how much she loved her little girl. She got all the time she wanted on my lap. There comes with the suit a grave and great responsibility. I hope to see her again this Saturday. Story 19. I was the school Santa. The kids at the time were 8 through 10. One lovely little girl sat on my knee with a big smile on her face. When I asked what she wanted from Santa, she smiled bigger and said, "I want a switchblade knife so that I can kill my mean teacher." Story 20. One year, my brother asked for a dustpan. This was well in advance of Christmas, and everyone assumed he would forget it and move on. But as a joke, one of his presents was a shiny new dustpan with a bit of mini broom. Of course, there was also the typical toys you'd expect a 4 or 5-year-old to enjoy, but he wasn't particularly interested in those. So instead, he spent most of the following week sweeping things into his dustpan. Story 21. I play Santa at local events in my small town. When a little girl asked to speak to her mommy in heaven, it took everything I had not to break character. I suggested stationery so she could write her mom, whom I named because I knew her mom, a letter. I had to stop for a while and use the bathroom for a break. Story 22. I worked as an elf for 3 days, and during this short period, much stuff happened. For example, one time, this woman came with her son and looked exactly like the busy mother in movies. Tons of bags from the mall, talking on the phone, struggling to hand the kid a dollar bill to take the picture with Santa, etc. Anyways, the kid sits on Santa's lap and he says, "For Christmas, I just want mom to stop stuttering at night and banging on the walls." Probably was a bit different because I just overheard it.